everyone, we're at Kanchanabran province and we're just going to go into the Death Railway Museum and Research Centre. This is to do with the Death Railway and we'll explain a bit more about it as we go. So we're here at the Kanchanabran War Cemetery. We've walked through, well, half of the graves so far and had a look at the names and taken some pictures. I'm not sure how many is actually in this cemetery. There were 200,000 killed during the war altogether, building the railway, the Kwai Railway.
Yep.
So we're just having a look around, seeing if we see any familiar names.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been interesting, and we've been to the museum. That was really interesting
as well. Yeah. So we're going to go to the bridge over the River Kwai Bridge shortly, and we'll be showing you a bit of that as well.
Yeah.
Now this is the famous bridge over the River Kwai that the movie in 1957 was made about, that they blew up. But this was rebuilt after the Second World War. There was a wood one next to it here, but it's been pulled down, and this concrete one's been put up since. So yeah, but this was the wood one that was stood next to this is what the film was about. Now we're just about to walk across the River Kwai Bridge. So that was built in the Second World War with 1,000 other people. There's Dinah waving at me down yonder. This lady here looks like she's selling some fish, some eels out of the river. I don't know what she's saying, but she's well weather worn, and yeah, I think she's selling some eels. Dinah would love to buy some eel, wouldn't you, Dinah? Now in front of us, the restaurant here, it's floating. We've got it on pontoons. There's like 3 of them joined together, so at night it gets pretty much flat out. And this is the River Kwai that we are looking at, down or up. So here we are looking in the other direction, and Dinah standing right in front of me and looking up the river. There's the train coming over the River Kwai.
We have arrived at the Interpretation Centre for the Hellfire Pass, which of course is the Thailand to Burma Railway. I think we've spoken earlier about the movie that was made, the bridge over River Kwai. Well, this is part of the railway that was built. I think it was about 2,800 war POWs from Australia had to work here, and about 2,800 died. I think there were about 3,000 here. And of course lots from other countries as well. It was pretty traumatic, but we'll show you some more as we go. So, and
this was put up by the Australians.
It's run by the Australian government.
Paid and yes, by the Australian government.
Because so many Australians died here. And what was I going to say? We're about to do the walk, which is about
5 kilometres round trip.
Yep.
And we're about to embark on that. It's about 30 degrees. There's a bit of a breeze, so we'll see how well we last this time.
And we have to take a walkie-talkie because there's no phone range.
No phone range, so in case we collapse.
Yeah, hopefully we won't. We've got lots of water.
Yeah.
We're just inside the Interpretation Centre, and this is how much rock each man had to move in a day. That looks like about 1 metre square, and this is how much food they got, which of course is why so many of them died, because they got very little food. They were very, very poorly looked after.
Here we go, we've just started on the Hellfire Walk, and yeah, it's I think 5.5 kilometres round trip, and Dinah's up ahead of me, and we're just starting to make our way down. Yeah, we've just started on the head of the trail, and we're just making our way down there now.
So this is actually Hellfire Pass, also known as Connu Cutting, and they would work by lamplight, and that's why it looked like a Hellfire Pass. That's why the Aussies called it Hellfire Pass, because the lights look like fire when they're finished. This is an original old piece of track here that Charlie's filming.
This is the memorial the Australian government put up, going to stand in front of it, and the flags of all the country of the people that were involved as prisoners of war. So we're in the bottom of the creek bed, and there you can see where the bridge used to be. The bridge no longer exists here, but the bridge was built all the way across to where the steps are over there, made out of bamboo. All of them were made out of bamboo. Yeah, and there's nothing, it's just the creek bed that's here, that's left, and the rest isn't, just the steps. Here's the rock formation for the three-tier bridge that was here. This was a very big bridge. It collapsed 3 times. They used to call it the Bridge of Cards because it collapsed 3 times down, or the House of Cards, or the Bridge of Cards. So, yeah, because it fell down 3 times. Every time they put it up, it'd fall down again. And I don't think they were working very hard on putting it up very well, because obviously the POWs were trying to sabotage all the time so the Japanese wouldn't be successful. The end of the Hellfire is the end of the Hellfire Walk along the Burma railway line that so many Australian, American, Dutch and British soldiers died. Yeah, and local, what are they called? The local people were Menashes, which were Thais and Burmese and Indians. A lot more of them died. They were treated much worse than the POWs, so they died in much greater numbers. So yeah, it was very cruel, and it was only used for about 12 months, and then the Allies started bombing it and they had to abandon it. So there was a lot died for not very much, but I suppose that's war everywhere. Here we are finally at the top after 3.5 hours, 5.5 kilometres. As you can plainly see, I'm sweating like there's no tomorrow, and yeah, she's been a decent workout.
Hi everyone, Charlie has just uploaded a video on the Thailand to Burma rail track that was built during World War II. The POWs built it, and there were quite a lot of Australians there. And I just wanted to give you some information about that, because we did the walk the other day, and it was really heartfelt during that walk, and we had earphones and we listened to their story. A lot of the actual Australian POWs that were there spoke on the recording, and so it made it really sort of heartfelt and special to go and do that walk. So I just wanted to give you some actual information about it. I've got a little note here to remind me, because there's a lot to remember, but I'll do it quick. So firstly, gosh, it was 415 kilometres long. The English said it would take 5 years to build, and it was built in 15 months. So you can imagine how hard these guys worked. There was a lot of Asian population there, and then there were the Allied prisoners of war from Australia, Holland, England, British and American. Half of the Asians that worked on the railway died, and a quarter of the POWs. So the Asians were treated, you know, pretty averagely. During that time of building, there was a stage where they were running a bit behind, and so the Japanese used to say speedo, speedo, speedo to make them go faster, work long hours. And during that period of time, they were often working 18, 19 hours a day. There were 688 bridges. Of those bridges, 6 were steel, the rest were all made out of bamboo. And they made them in sort of kind of like a stack of cards when you build a stack of cards up. So pretty clever. Basically, they were treated really badly by the Japanese, often beaten if they didn't work fast enough or they made a mistake, and sometimes beaten to death, which is pretty horrendous. During the wet season, because they were walking in mud and it was so wet, and they often had to walk from the camp to the worksite, which was, you know, a few kilometres, their clothes wore out and boots wore out really quickly. So basically they were kind of wearing a kind of an adult diaper, I guess you'd almost call it, and that was it. They had no other clothes, their boots were worn out, they were barefoot, they were walking on quite big blue stone rocks that were quite sharp. We did it in shoes, and I know Charlie had Crocs on, and they were poking, the stones were poking through his Crocs, and it was kind of pain. So could you imagine barefoot? Their medical supplies were next to none. They did have Weary Dunlop as a doctor there, and he was a lovely man. He was very quiet, and he sort of brought everyone together. He was very calming. So yeah, medical was pretty lousy. A lot of the death was due to disease, cholera. It was also due to starvation, overwork and maltreatment. And what else was I going to say? Oh, they did a lot of entertaining too. They sung a lot of Aussie songs, and that brought even people from other nationalities together. They always wanted to work on this with the Australians because they were such happy chappies, and they wanted to. It was a crappy situation they were in, but they wanted to make the most of it and do the best they could, because they were prisoners of war. They were there no matter what. So look, I hope you enjoy the video, and I've given you a bit more information. It's really interesting, and thanks for listening.